All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a very special episode on BCB Plus. We are not worthy, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with a charting recording artist. He is now, and I'm so happy to say it just feels so right, the current reigning and defending TNA World Heavyweight Champion. We are not worthy, Mr. Joe Hendry. Thank you, Joe, for a few minutes. How are you, sir?
Thank you for the introduction. Appreciate it. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Very well deserved. Joe, I'm not going to ask you right out the gate how it feels, but I want to take you back through that moment, that 1, 2, 3 count. What a rivalry with Nick Nemeth. But your head falls to the mat, your arms fall to the mat. You look up, the referee presents the title to you. You slowly grab the title. The guitar slide on the music. You rise to your feet. Just walk us through that whole moment for you.
Yeah, I made a conscious decision of how I would react. Some things are organic and in the moment, and other things you think, this is how I would like this to go. And I remember when the 3 count hit, I just took a moment to collect myself, and I says, I wanted it to feel like when Steve Austin first won the title at WrestleMania 14. I didn't want it to be like, because my family were there in attendance. I didn't want it to be a moment where, everybody's crying and all this is. I wanted it to be very much, this is my time now, and I'm taking the throne. That's how it was supposed to feel. That's how I felt when I got up on the turnbuckle. It was an amazing feeling. It's 12 years of hard work, whirlwind of a year in 2024, and we finally got it done.
Yeah, very well deserved, sir. And you have been, for lack of a better word, crushing it. I was at the 2300 show up here in the Northeast in Philly, and there was just something so special about that roster. Every single match was fantastic. Just tell us right now, and I know on Busted Open, you had mentioned some possible contenders. I'm very excited about that. But in terms of the current TNA product right now, it's such a special roster. Is there anyone you're looking at right now? I know I saw our guy Casey Navarro kind of holding up that heavyweight title at one point.
Did he? When was that? It wasn't
So,
when I was champ. He's
so
not getting anywhere near this belt.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. Who are you looking at
When
the
did that
roster?
happen?
So it was
When did
after, I
that
think it
happen?
was Francis versus Nemeth, and after the match, Casey picked up the title belt.
Well, you know what? I Casey Navarro's got. I think he will be a huge star for the company. He's fantastic, but you know what? Anyone that associates with AJ Francis isn't getting anywhere near me. That's just how I look at that. But
Fair enough.
I yeah, I mean, I will say though, I do think it's kind of interesting. Myself and AJ. If you look at where we both were a year ago and look at where I am now, that's certainly an intriguing matchup. At the other week, Bully Bully Ray inferred that he might want to challenge for the championship. I've had people from outside the organization. I've had people from inside the organization. I personally think that Leon Slater one day will be the guy in the company and probably the industry as a whole. So I think he could be a contender at any time. Really, I know he's very focused on the X division, but I think he will be a world champion for the company. But how long have you got? Really, how long have you got? There's so many talented individuals in the TNA locker room that it's hard to pick one.
Yeah, a great problem to have. Mr. Henry, I want to ask you this, sir. You mentioned briefly on Busted Open, and we're huge proponents of the independent talent here in the Northeast, but you kind of mentioned these kind of 10 points of contention or critique that you kind
Five.
of yes. Oh,
Five.
five. I apologize. Five.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate that on a little bit, sir, for our indie friends?
For me, it's just what I subscribe to, which is there's 3 elements that it takes to be good at the job in terms of skill, and then there's a further 2 elements that it requires to take that skill to the appropriate stage, and that is the components of that make you good at the job are your in-ring ability is one, your charisma and your promo is two, and your look, your physique is three. Those are the 3 elements that you can that make you good at the job. And then the other two that are important are your ability to promote yourself and your professionalism. And those 5 together, if you rank yourself out of 10, I can guarantee most wrestlers will not be as high scoring as they maybe thought if they think about themselves as a whole. And doing it that way can be brutal, but it allows you to take a step back and go, actually, instead of looking at it like a negative, there's quite a few places where I could improve in the next 6 month period. And you just have to do that enough times. If you focus on becoming the most improved wrestler in the world, which is what I believe I achieved in 2024, it's not going to be long before you become a world champion. And here we are.
Very well deserved. And I want to switch gears. I want to ask you some music questions, Mr. Hendry. What's the writing process like for you? I'm a longtime drummer, Asbury Park area, Springsteen, Bon Jovi, this neck of the woods. What's the writing process like for you? Is it lyrics first? Is it coming up with a riff? Is it coming up with a style or a beat? Is it percussion first? What's the writing process like for you?
It all has to start with the hook. The hook
Yep.
is that's just something. My big skill is I can write hooks really quickly and efficiently. And the good thing about starting with the hook is that's the kind of magic part. You know how in wrestling they talk about they can teach you all the moves, but having that special X factor, that having it is something that's difficult to teach. I think that teaching how to write hooks is very difficult, but I've been very fortunate in that I know how to do that. So I can write catchy songs on command, and the rest of it you can build out from there. If you have a good hook that people are going to remember and want to sing, the rest is just a process. The rest is just right. Let's get to work. The magic part is trying to find the hook.
Do you see a lot of similarities between what you're doing inside the ring and the music business? On the independent level here, I see so many similarities. Is that something you kind of feel in the pro wrestling business right now?
Well, do you mean? Could you elaborate on that? How do you mean in terms
Yeah.
of music?
So basically, in terms of performing, getting something out there, you're performing in the ring, you're performing musically. Are there
Ah,
any parallels?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there absolutely are parallels with any creative industry. There will be comedian. A lot of comedians seem to think that the professional wrestling circuit is very similar to theirs, and a lot of these pursuits do have things in common. Like, for example, again on Busted Open, Billy Ray was talking about, and Mark Henry were talking about. Some bits in the match, it's up here, and then it comes down, and it kind of reminds you of, the chorus and the verse and the bridge, which is if you think about it, I'll use Nirvana as the classic example. Smells Like Teen Spirit. The chorus is very loud, but it only stands out because the verse is very quiet. And the bridge bridges the gap between the verse and the chorus. And I think that professional wrestling can have a very similar structure as well. That's why it's awesome to see professional wrestling as a variety show where there's something for everyone, which I think that TNA wrestling does exceptionally well and will continue to do when we go live this Thursday in San Antonio for TNA Impact. And then we will tape future episodes the day after as well. So you definitely don't want to miss those 2 days.
Very excited for that. And Mr. Henry, I want to ask you this. You mentioned Bully a few times. You mentioned Mark Henry. Also, we know that Tommy has just done so much for so many people. What vets are in your ear right now? Who are the people that are helping you right out right now? Because Bully had a ton of advice for you on Busted Open. Are there a lot of people in your ear helping you out right now? And now that you have the big gold here in TNA?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're very fortunate to be surrounded by veterans all the time. You just mentioned the Busted Open guys. There's Billy Ray and Mark Henry. I had a great conversation with the other day. Tommy Dreamer is a key member of the team here at TNA Wrestling. And is very involved with all the creative stuff that we're doing. So those 3 guys that you mentioned, certainly. And I enjoy talking to the Hardys. I have been, JBL. I've kind of, like I say, it's. I still haven't given him his receipt for Bound for Glory, but the man does have some good information. So you know what, I'll throw JBL in there as well. There's a ton. Also, I've learned a ton from Nick. Just watching Nick when we tagged together, watching him wrestle from the apron, I learned a lot from that as well.
Yeah, there always seemed to be a mutual respect there, and that was awesome to see throughout that whole feud between the two of you. I want to ask you this, Mr. Henry, your connection with the fans. It's something very, very special to me. The most important part about this whole crazy circus. Just talk to me about, you've been doing so many of these meet and greets with the fans. Just talk to us about the special connection you have with the fans right now.
It's just something I'm very grateful and fortunate. I think it's something that's very organic. It's not something that's forced. It's just something that's happened over time, and I'm super grateful that it is that way. And really, that to maintain that, what I do is, if a fan comes to the meet and greet, I really try to give them the best experience that I possibly can when they're meeting me. And I think it's been so fun to connect with the fans and hear their thoughts and their support. And when things are tough, the fan support really does keep you going. So it's this great cycle where they keep me going and I keep them going.
Last one, Mr. Henry, and I appreciate a few minutes of your time, sir. Congrats again. As I said earlier, huge proponents of the independent talent up here. You talked about those 5 ideas that you had. What's one more thing that you could give to someone who's on the independents right now? Because they don't have weekly TV, right? They're trying to connect with the audience. What can they do to get over? What's something that an independent talent could do? Any advice you might have?
So my advice is the best bang for your buck in terms of promoting yourself is Instagram Reels. A lot of people go, yeah, well, Joe Hendry had this opportunity and that opportunity, but the ball was rolling before any of the crazy big opportunities came along. And we really, if you look back before the song came out, we were making reels. It's on my Instagram wall. You can go look. This is the cool thing. You can actually, if you want to do what I've done, you can study the trajectory. Go back and look at the reels I was making in April. Those initial reels are still earning me followers every day. If you think about it, if you go viral and you create a viral video, I'll give you an example. I put up one when I was sitting on a plane and we were taking off from Orlando, I think it was, and there was vapor in the air, and it just looked really strange because it was so hot. It looked like there was just smoke all throughout the inside of the aircraft. So I uploaded it with Metalingus playing over the top of it, making it look like Edge was about to make his entrance. Now, that's not related to me. That could have been any wrestler that uploaded that, but that got millions upon millions upon millions of views. And that one video has earned me thousands upon thousands of followers. The reason I bring that one up is because you can't turn around and say, oh, well, that's just because Joe's this or that. That reel had nothing to do with me as a wrestler, but that's an example of something I made that's still earning me, potentially hundreds of followers a month. Now, if you have, ideally they relate to your character. I just use that one as the example because it's showing you that it doesn't necessarily need to be me that's posting it, but you as a wrestler, if you can put out Instagram reels that reinforce your character and that people are going to want to share, they're going to earn you followers every day. And pretty soon, if you have 100 reels earning you followers every day, you're going to start getting into the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers. And before you know it, you're going to be a big name on the indies. So it's just really, you can deconstruct what myself or any of the breakthrough acts have been doing. But Instagram Reels is the place where I would start.
Wonderfully said. Mr. Henry, thank you for a few minutes of your time. Continued success moving forward. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Thank you.
BCP is brought to you by our favorite store, Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, located in the Englishtown Flea Market in New Jersey from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays, and online at FunkensteinWrestlingSuperstore.com. Get your favorite wrestling merch, retro video games, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, so much more. It's our favorite store. Thank you, Heather and Dan, for sponsoring the BCP. Also got to welcome back our sponsors, the No Gimmicks Podcast, the podcast that keeps it 100% real 100% of the time. Check out our guy Kelvin, only on the No Gimmicks Podcast. Wrestling All Day, All Night is the best wrestling discussion group on Facebook. We provide more of a community feel here, and have wrestling fans introduce other fans to something they may not have seen before, such as old school wrestling, indie wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and so much more. We also strive to be a source of information regarding upcoming wrestler meet and greets and signings. And remember, we're open 24/7, all day, all night. Be sure to follow on socials and join the group on Facebook at Wrestling All Day, All Night. Welcome back our sponsor, Sweet Chin Musings. Sweet Chin Musings is the creation of the reigning, rarely defending, highly disputed champion of wrestling podcast, Mr. Perfect, Mike Mueller, and his tag team partner in crime, Luke Kudialis. SCM focuses on the in-ring product of WWE and AEW, no dirt sheet rumors here, as well as backstage news, predictions, and analysis of characters, storylines, and major pay-per-views. Old school fans, don't worry, we have you covered as well, with a look back on classic matches, top 10 lists, and interactive tournaments that let the fans decide who is truly the best of all time. You can find them at Facebook at Sweet Chin Musings, and check out the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Please welcome back our sponsors on the BCP Plus and the podcast, GPW Productions. GPW provides your promotion or event with top-tier video, audio production, live streaming, and more. I can personally vouch for them in saying they are hands down the best production company I've ever worked with, as they have and continue to work with the likes of AEW, GCW, StarCast, MLW, not to mention the majority of the local independent promotions here in the tri-state area. They can even help you film a vignette or promo for your persona or gimmick. And guess what? GPW doesn't just work in wrestling. No, they cover MMA, boxing, basketball, or any other sporting event as well. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Mike Sesko, Frank León, Oneil Andrews, and the team for giving me multiple opportunities to work with them and some of the best talent in the world. Thank you, GPW, and guys, book GPW for your promotion or event today at contact@gpwproductions.com. Please welcome back one of our favorite sponsors, Mania Club. Established in 2015, Mania Club is a WWE-recognized community for fans with an eclectic love for both the world of professional wrestling and raising money for Connor's Cure. During WrestleMania weekend, we host the official tailgate of WrestleMania while also celebrating the life of Conor McCallum. They are the single largest donor within the V Foundation for Connor's Cure, with over 150,000 raised. Please donate and join the Facebook group over at Mania Club on Facebook. Donate at jimmyv.org/Mania Club. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for the months of May and June, J. Adam Photography. Jay provides quality, artistic, innovative photography with a quick turnaround time. Be sure to check out his latest ISPW wrestling pics and much more stellar content. Right now, wrestlers can do a special portrait shoot with Jay in Sparta, New Jersey for just $50. Contact Jay at jvogel on Facebook and be sure to follow him across socials. Thank you, Jay, for sponsoring the BCP. Guys, let's welcome in our new pod sponsor, Cooper Groove Grips. When you play Cooper Groove drumsticks, you get increased sensory feedback from your hands, so your grip will naturally loosen, but you have complete control. With that taking place, you don't have fatigue and soreness, which can lead to long-term issues. Guys, as a drummer, Cooper Groove is my drumstick of choice. Sweaty hands aren't a problem. Grip is good. Don't forget to check out their amazing Cooper Groove bats coming out soon. Guys, follow at Cooper Groove Grips on Facebook. Guys, please welcome in our new podcast sponsors, ISPW Weekly, where we dive deep into the world of ISPW, the crossroads of professional wrestling. Join Jumpin' Jay and Total with Tom every week as they interview the stars of the ring, uncover their stories, rivalries, and the electrifying action that defines ISPW. Be sure to check out ISPW Weekly on the ISPW Facebook page every week. Please welcome in our new pod and daily site sponsor, Twisted Shamrock Studios and Spa, located in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Twisted Shamrock is a retro spa experience for the average Joe and Jane. Meet the next evolution of recovery and relaxation. Right now, you can try their introductory offer, where you can try a core service to include massage, skincare, facial, stretch therapy, body slimming, toning, personal training, and spray tanning for 30 minutes for just $30. This is perfect for our wrestling pals as well. Book today. Call 484-574-8868 or visit www.twistedshamrockstudiospa.com. Guys, please welcome back our returning podcast sponsor, USDN. USDN Podcast is run by USDN Chairman and the Council of Nerds. We bring you all the latest news and rumors from the world of nerds and consolidate it right here at the U.S. Department of Nerds. USDN is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Follow them at facebook.com/US Department of Nerds. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for 2025, the Ropes and Riffs podcast, featuring Maestro John Kiernan, speaking with the stars of professional wrestling about their in-ring, tunage, gear, and so much more. Check out John's interviews with the likes of Lince Dorado, Mercedes Martinez, and so much more. Find the Ropes and Riffs podcast on all major podcast platforms. Guys, Warriors of Wrestling is back Saturday, February 8th at Fun Station in Staten Island, New York, with a tables match between Disco Dane and Jason Boyd. Check out your Warriors Women's Champion Vicious Vicky, Darius Carter, TJ Marconi, and the new Warriors champ Roger Mendez. Get your tickets now and follow Warriors of Wrestling on YouTube. Please welcome back a returning sponsor for 2025, Bree Combination Wrestling, featuring Darius Carter Anthony Gangone, Vicious Vicky, Stunning Law, Jay Bougie, and many more. Follow Recombination Wrestling on all socials and get all those great matches over on Title Match Network.